This is Duke University.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Duke University Online Paralegal Certificate Program Information Session webinar. My name is Stephanie Plowman and I am Program Coordinator for the Paralegal Program. With me today is Phaedra Kelly, Program Manager at Duke University, and together we are going to tell you everything you ever wanted to know and then some about the Duke Online Paralegal Program. So we're going to start off with talking about the profession in general a little bit and then get into the specifics of the Duke program. So with that being said, I am going to turn things over to Phaedra, who is going to kick us off today. So Phaedra, it's all you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Welcome, everybody. I just want to tell you all a little information to start about the paralegal profession. The number of employment of paralegals and legal assistants is growing at a nice rate of 8%, and it's going to continue doing that until about 2024. Another great thing about the paralegal profession is that as law firms are trying to cut back on their costs, they are transferring a lot of the responsibilities that used to be done by attorneys to paralegals. And so law firms are hiring more paralegals than they used to. Of course, there is a lot of competition for the paralegal profession. That's why it's good to get an education of some sort, this certificate obviously being one way, and that there are some professions or specific areas of the law where paralegals are especially important that are going to keep growing, including real estate, bankruptcy, medical malpractice, products liability. And so jobs are going to continue to increase, and that's a good thing for paralegals. Next slide, please, Stephanie. I just want to note we do offer a classroom program. If you live in North Carolina and you're interested in taking that instead of the online, they are a little bit different, although the curriculum is basically the same. The online program is self-paced and student-driven. Students have a year to complete the program. There's no set deadlines for assignments and exams, although you have to, of course, do the assignments and exams. And you have instructors to provide feedback and to grade the assignments. And the classroom program we offer in the spring and fall in 5-month sessions, and then an intensive 7-week summer session. In here you have attorneys. It's a traditional classroom setting. You also get to network with fellow students. And the classroom program is approved by the North Carolina Paralegal Certification Board, unlike the online program. And the reason the online program is not approved is that the North Carolina board doesn't approve any online programs. So that doesn't speak poorly of the online program. It just means that it's kind of the rule of the North Carolina bar. Next slide, please. And so let's talk about the curriculum for just a moment. The bulk of the coursework is the essential skills area, which is basically the introduction to the law. You will learn about legal terminology, which is very important because the law is kind of its own language of sorts. You will learn about court structures. You'll learn about the ethics of being a paralegal. You'll learn about law office etiquette. And then a huge part of what you'll learn is legal writing and research, which is, of course, what is the primary job of a paralegal. And then, so the other part of the curriculum is the substantive areas. And then what happens is that you get to pick 2 of these from contract law, family law, tort law, and criminal law. And so you'll pick 2 and then go from there. And the curriculum is full of quizzes, exams, writing assignments, and then your online instructor grades your assignments and answers any questions you have about the curriculum. Next, please. And I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie now to talk about the website in more detail.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Phaedra. A real team effort here today. Okay. Now, the online program obviously has a major online component to it, and we're looking at that online component, our website, paralegalspace.com. Now, you can see over on the left-hand side of the slide, there are a whole series of links on the site, which we are going to talk about right now. So once once you register for the program and you receive your welcome to the site and from your online instructor, you will log in and this is what you will see to get started. Now, at the outset, Paralegal Space is a communications portal, but it has the most amazing study support that will accompany each one of your classes. So this, what we're looking at right now, is the resources folder where you will find additional resources for your courses. It's not the main area of support, which we're going to take a look at in a minute, but it is an area of the site where your instructors will post additional helpful resources for you as you are working through the materials. So as you can see here, you'll find paralegal resume and cover letter samplers, timesheets to keep track of your billable hours, your quote-unquote billable hours for your client, legal research and citations, all sorts of resources to assist you as you are working through the course materials. But the main area of the study support for essential skills and then also for the 4 substantive classes can be found under those respective links. And what we are looking at right now is the dashboard for your Essential Skills class. And as Phaedra mentioned, Essential Skills is truly the core of the program. It is where you will learn legal writing, legal research, courthouse structure, terminology. When you first start the class, you will choose a client and fact pattern, and you will work that client and fact pattern the whole way through in all of your writing assignments. So you will start off with simple, quote-unquote, simple writing assignments, demand letter, client correspondence, work your way up to a summons and complaint, discovery demands, and finish out essential skills with a lovely summary judgment motion. Now, in order to learn how to prepare all of those documents and what they are, and how they're used in the litigation process, you will work through your essential skills support on Paralegal Space. Now, the support tracks every single chapter in each one of your books. So what we recommend is that you read the material first and then work through the corresponding support on the site. Now, we have all sorts of support on the site here. You can see a chart of court structure, learn about, again, courts in your regions and how they are structured. Interactive study support, we all have all sorts of charts, graphs, you name it. There are all sorts of exercises and various materials for you to work through to understand the materials in your books. Now, the materials in the support build upon what you're reading in the books. They enhance it. They're a wonderful review. Shortly, we're going to take a look at some mock exams and quizzes that are available on the site as well. But everything that is available on the site is there to enhance your reading and your learning experience in the program. Now we have interactive demonstrations where you can work through various exercises relevant to the concepts that you are learning. You know, practice does make perfect, even in the law. So it is important to work through all of these materials so you do understand what you are reading. As Phaedra mentioned earlier, learning the law can be like learning a foreign language, and not just because there's a lot of Latin involved. It's a different way of thinking, it's a different way of speaking, and really a different way of analyzing problems and arguments, and it is true that practice does make perfect, and that is where our study support comes into play. We have interactive exercises so you can familiarize yourself and understand citations. Now, citations are a series of letters and numbers that you will see after a case name, so you know right away where to find that case, what court it was decided in, and what year. And this is important in your legal writing because you want to ensure that you are citing to cases that are going to be helpful to your arguments, support your arguments, and help your client. And then just going into some legal cartoons as well. I mean, you name it, again, it's probably in here when it comes to the study support. We try to make it interesting, we try to make it fun, and we want you to learn. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we do have lots of mock exams, practice quizzes that you can take to test yourself on the material. So after you finish a particular segment or chapter in the book, you can work through the practice quizzes and exams prior to taking the actual exam that you will take for each segment in Essential Skills and your comprehensive exam. The mock exams and practice exams you can take as many times as you want. They are just for you, again, for your review, to help you pinpoint areas where you may need a little more help or where you are already experts. But you can see here in this particular question that when you take a mock exam, you will get instant gratification, am I right or am I wrong? And then an explanation of what the correct answer is and why, as well as an additional study link and a reference to the pages in your books. So if you need a little bit more help in this area of law, you can go take another look at it. Now, in addition to the support that tracks your essential skills books and the chapters in your substantive books, there are also some additional labs on the site to assist you with the materials and in learning the law. One of them we're looking at right now is the Law Library Lab. Now, this is not an area of the site where you can do actual searchable research as you would in a brick-and-mortar law library or via the two main legal databases, Westlaw and Lexis, which we're also going to talk about in a minute. But this is an area of the site where you can familiarize yourself with the materials that you will find in a law library or online as you are getting started studying legal research. Now, to utilize the law library, you would simply click on the book you would like to take a look at in the stacks, and that book will open up. And over here on the right-hand side, it will give you an explanation of how the book is structured, how to find what you need to find, and the best way for you to be an efficient researcher, which is such an important quality for a paralegal to have. Now you can zoom in on the book, just learn more about using it as you are clicking through the law library. Also, how are the materials that you will find in these books utilized in your legal writing? Is it primary authority? Is it secondary authority? How are you best going to support your arguments with what you find in these particular materials? You will also get a sense of, again, how to start. Do I start in the index? Do I start in the table of contents? Is there somewhere else? Again, being an efficient researcher is a truly important quality for a paralegal to have, not only when you're working in the books, but also when you're working online on both Westlaw and Lexis. Now, again, Westlaw and Lexis are the two main legal databases that law firms, legal corporations, paralegals use to do research for briefs, motions for their clients. Now, you will have access to both of them during the course of the online program. You'll have access to them for the full year of the program. Now, they are substantially similar to one another, and one of my colleagues likes to describe Westlaw and Lexis as Google for lawyers, and then of course students start clicking in there and seeing it's a little more complicated than Google, but they are very user-friendly. Both Westlaw and Lexis have incredible resources that we encourage students to use to assist you as you are learning to navigate through the two databases. They have little webinars like we're doing right now. They have short videos that you can watch, how to research a statute, how to research case law. They have just all sorts of materials and reading materials and videos and such, supplemental materials to assist you as you are becoming comfortable in both databases. Now you have access to both of them because Westlaw and Lexis are very expensive in practice. So most law firms and legal departments and corporations only have one or the other. And quite frankly, you don't know what you're going to get until you get into that job and it's time to start researching. Also, because they are so expensive in practice, it's important that you are comfortable on the two databases so you can get online, enter your search terms, pull up the cases and the materials that will be helpful to your client, and then log off. I don't want to say as quickly as possible, but fairly quickly, because in practice, as you are researching and the clock is ticking, the dollar signs are going up, and those costs are, of course, being passed along to your client. So you do want to get on there, find what you need, and be able to utilize it quickly. During the course of the program, you can stay logged on to Westlaw and Lexis for as long as you want. This is really your opportunity to become comfortable on these databases and figure out the best search terms to use and the best way to research on both. For instance, if you have a research project and you enter the search terms automobile accident, negligence, and injuries, either Westlaw or Lexis are going to come back to you and say, here are 1 million+ cases for you to start looking at, or they're going to tell you, we can't even comprehend these search terms because they're pulling up too many cases. So again, this is your opportunity, both in Westlaw, Lexis, that we've been looking at for a minute now, and Westlaw, to really get comfortable and become efficient researchers that attorneys value and look for. Now, one other lab that we have on Paralegal Space is the Writing Lab, and this is where you will find templates for all of the assignments that you will prepare for your Essential Skills class. Now, there's no reinventing the wheel in the law. If I have drafted a summons and complaint for my favorite example, the car accident case 6 months ago, and another car accident case comes into my office, I'm going to pull up that old summons and complaint, take out the old facts, put in the new, and have a nice draft to show. So the law library, the legal writing lab is where you can find templates for each one of those assignments that you will prepare for your class. Now, once you pull up the template, over here on the right-hand side in the drop-down box, you can find step-by-step instructions for drafting that document. So you can listen to an audio lecture under drop-down box 1, and then under 2, you will find a step-by-step guide with an explanation of the various components that you need to include in your document. So this is very helpful, especially if you've never seen a summons and complaint or a summary judgment motion before. You've certainly never drafted one. It's always good to start with a reference point to assist you to ensure that you are including everything that you need to include. So lots of great stuff on Paralegal Space, again, to assist you as you are doing your reading and working through the materials. Now, just a couple other Paralegal Space items. We also have a section of the site called Where You've Been, where you can track the materials that you have worked through. So you can see here, study support that I've worked through has a little green dot. Study support I haven't gotten to yet has a red dot. So you can ensure by checking where you've been that you've worked through all of the support in a particular segment, and if you have not, you can go back and take a look at what you missed. Now, upon successful completion of the paralegal program, we do move our paralegal graduates over to a Duke graduate site where you will have continued access to the study support, hundreds of forms of templates, all of the labs, all of the same good stuff that you worked through while you were taking the program, except those pesky exams and assignments that you will probably be happy to put behind you. But we do often get job postings that we will post here as well. So this is just a great site to keep track of and to utilize once you have successfully completed the program. I also just referenced exams and assignments. I should note that all of your exams will be taken on Paralegal Space and all of your assignments will be posted on Paralegal Space. Once you have posted your assignment, your assigned instructor will pull that assignment, review, comment it, grade it, and return it to you on the site. So in general, of course, it's an online program. You want to have a good online system. You want to be comfortable with the computer that you have, but certainly you want to be comfortable navigating online in general. So, lots to do online, and you want to make sure that you are comfortable with yourself online, but also with your system online. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Phaedra now, who is going to talk about completion requirements and some other good stuff in regard to registering for the program. So Phaedra, back to you.
Thanks, Stephanie. So To complete the program successfully, you have to finish the essential skills core curriculum, as well as the 2 substantive courses that I talked about. And that includes doing all the assignments, including library research, exams, and then there's a comprehensive final at the end. And the grading is that although this is a non-credit and we don't assign grades on your transcript, you do have to get an 80% cumulative grade on the essentials and then an 80% cumulative on the 2 substantives in order to earn the certificate. And then, again, you have 1 year in which to complete the program. Next, please. So more information about our program is at learnmore.duke.edu/certificate/paralegal_online. My email address, which you can always use, is paralegalonline@duke.edu. If you have any questions or about the application process or the curriculum or anything like that. Next, please. And let's talk about admission now. You have to, and this is very important, you have to either have an associate's or a bachelor's degree to apply for our program. And it doesn't really matter what subject matter as long as you have that degree. And you need to be proficient in English, writing and reading and spoken English. You need, of course, to have basic word processing and internet skills. You need to have internet access and email, obviously, to do an online program. And just so you know, the Google Chrome web browser is the preferred web browser for the program. I'm not going to read the computer requirements, but there are some minimum requirements that you need to have. And those are also on our website, so you can go back and refer to that. Next, please. So to apply, visit our website, complete the application form, and you pay a $25 application fee. And then there are some supplemental documents that you have to submit as well, and that includes resume, reference letter, official college transcripts, and signed program policy. And let me go into that just a little more. Resume is pretty obvious. The reference letter, we get a lot of questions about. It can be a personal reference or an academic reference or a work reference. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that the letter needs to come from the person who wrote the reference letter, not from the student. And then once you actually apply, and you will get a confirmation email from me, and that will have the program policy for you to read and review and sign and return back. And I just want to mention the college transcripts. We don't need the transcripts per se to consider your application, but we will not let you start the program and enroll in the program without an official college transcript that shows that you have that bachelor's or associate's degree. Official means not a copy from you, but it's coming from the educational institution where you got the degree. If you want to try, if your college uses electronic transmission of transcripts, that's great. It's quicker. Please try to do that. But in any case, it needs to come from that college. And we don't need every transcript from every university or college that you've ever gone to. We just need the transcript from the one where you got the degree. Again, either a bachelor's or an associate's. And then once you are approved, if you are approved, and I hope you are, students can register and pay tuition once they've, of course, got the transcript to us at any time within 12 months. So your application is basically good for 12 months. Next, please. And just a little more on tuition and financing. The program tuition is $69.95. That does not include textbooks. You must pay that in full in order to register and start the program. There is no payment plan for the online program. The books cost between $5.50 and $6.50. And then you can pay by cash or credit card. Sometimes we have employers who pay, and that's fine as well. Just let our registration staff know that. We also have some students who pursue private student loans through Sallie Mae or Wells Fargo. There may be other private student loans that you can pursue as well. We have information about those two on our website because a lot of our students use them. You also could pursue possibly getting funding if you are the spouse of a person in the military through something called MyCAA. And you can just Google that and look it up. And it's kind of a long process, but you may be able to use that as well. One thing you do need to note, because this is a non-credit program, you do not qualify for FAFSA or federal financial aid. And it also does not qualify for VA funding. Next, please. So get started today. Apply at, again, learnmore.duke.edu/certificates/paralegal_online/application.asp. And you can always email me again at paralegalonline@duke.edu.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Phaedra. We shared a lot of good information with our prospective paralegals today. Again, thank you for your interest in the Duke Online Paralegal Program. We certainly hope to see your names on rosters, and I always say faces in classrooms, but names online as well, and looking forward to working with you in the paralegal program. So, Phaedra, thank you so much. And
thanks, Stephanie.
Thanks to everyone for your interest. Bye-bye.
Bye.